Hey folks, walk with me. I'm already walking a little bit. A quick Inauguration Day video here. I actually planned this one out. I'm not taking a stance on any political figure, present or past, but I just wanted to clue some folks in on sort of some historical facts that I think are often misrepresented. So we all know that in 2020, I guess technically 2021, that Trump skipped Biden's inauguration. And I think at that point, there was, all this hubbub around like, this is unheard of, like this never happened, Not true. I'm not talking about any other components of it, just literally the skipping of the inauguration. You go all the way back to the second president of the United States, so the one after George Washington, John Adams. He had such a horrible relationship with Thomas Jefferson that when Jefferson was coming in as a third president, he skipped that inauguration. He did not show up. And so that precedent was actually set really early. It then happened again a couple of decades later with his son. So, that's just pretty funny, right? It's only happened, if you count 2020 or 2021, 4 times. And 2 of them were a father and son. So it's just kind of funny. But John Quincy Adams had such a horrible view or relationship or whatever with Andrew Jackson that he skipped his inauguration. And then much lesser known, I guess they might kind of be lesser known, but really lesser known, Andrew Johnson. He had, I think also just a really poor view, relationship, whatever, with Ulysses S. Grant, who was coming in after him. I think John Adams and John Quincy Adams actually left town that morning, sort of like what Trump did, though I think he flew off in a helicopter. They obviously didn't do that, but I think they left town that morning. I think Andrew Johnson actually stayed in the White House, until the actual moment that the swearing in was happening and that it was done. And so now there was officially a new resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But I think he just stayed in the building until that happened and then left. And that was, for Ulysses S. Grant. And then, of course, Trump. But I just wanted to give a quick history lesson because, I guess the one thing I would say that is probably a really fair comparison to draw, and is not fair comparison, a better thing to say is, it's a reason to raise flags, raise a big red flag and say, hey, this is not normal. It is true it's not normal, right? It happened 4 times. But also, these each happened at times of very strong sort of social unrest within the U.S. political system and the U.S. societal structure, right? You think of the second president, right? Everything was new. There was still a lot of questions around what this new country would look like, what amendments there would be, right? What, these founding documents would actually end up looking like. There was still a lot of British loyalists and stuff, and then you have his son. That this would have been, I think he was 1839. I can't remember if that's when he was in office or when he skipped the inauguration of Andrew Jackson, going off the top of my head here, so I just can't remember. But if I have 1839 right, you're only 20-ish years from the start of the Civil War. So things are bubbling, right? And then you go to Johnson. That would have been a bit after the end of the Civil War. So again, still bubbling. that haven't yet popped or dissolved. And then obviously we know things have been really righteously contentious for the last 10 years or so here in the US. And so 2020 falling smack dab in the middle of that, obviously the story there is yet to be written, I think. But even if you just looked at the fact of like COVID was happening, right? And all of the chaos and division that sowed, right? So this deeply divided society, deep mistrust or insecurity around the political system. These have tended to accompany a skipping of an inauguration. So there's that. But to set the historical record somewhat straight, minus the things that I got wrong because I'm going off the top of my head. But it's not that Trump did it to Biden and it had never been done before. It's just not true. All right, folks. Well, if you walked with me or watched this far, I really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next video.